Do I have whipped cream on my face? I hope not. Tonight we are starting off Nano Diaries number 2 in the best possible way with a cup of hot chocolate and some hopefully very productive writing. Before we get into it, if you are new here or if you just need a quick refresher, this is my first NaNoWriMo ever. I'm a newbie writer. I wrote back in high school. For NaNoWriMo, I have been working on my fantasy book project, which I have nicknamed Project the Wall, which follows a group of 3 characters, including Varen, who is the ruler's son, Rhea, who is our lead character, and her best friend Briar, and it follows them on their journey to the Wall. Hence the name Project the Wall. It is a adult romantic fantasy that will probably end up having a little bit of spice, but don't quote me on that. Kind of enemies to lovers vibe. So this is episode 2 of my Nano Diaries. In the last Nano Diaries, I managed to get a 5K word day, which was insane, and brought my total word count for Nano so far up to above 10K. I mentioned in that video that I have completely given up on winning Nano this year. Maybe that's something that I will try to do next year, but for this year, our goal is just to get as many words as we can. I would love to see us get up to 15 or 20K for the month. So since the last installment of Nano Diaries, I'm gonna be so freaking for real. I did not do any writing during the week. This is a pattern that I've really been finding with Nano, and something I think I'm just learning about my own writing habits in general is that there are some things that I can do when I'm in a drained state, and there are some things that I can't. And writing is one of those things that I cannot do when I'm in a drained state. And something I've really been learning about myself this month is that after a work day, I'm usually pretty drained, and writing after work has been really not possible for me. And I was a little disappointed by this because in the past I was able to do it, but I don't know what's been in the water in November. I don't know if I feel a little bit more pressure because it's Nano, but I've been having a really hard time getting any words in during the week. So the weekends have really become the time for me to write, which is also why I've been filming these Nano Diaries on the weekends to really encourage me to get back into it every weekend, especially because after not writing for the week, by the end of the week, I'm feeling a little anxious about the fact that I haven't written, and I'm really itching to get back to it and needing to just take the plunge before I procrastinate it any longer. So it's actually Friday night, and when I got home from work today, I was actually feeling pretty good, pretty motivated, and actually did like an hour of writing before I had Pilates, which I don't normally do, and I got a surprising number of words down. Let's actually look. Okay, I actually got 1,100 words, which is honestly a lot for me in a 1-hour sprint. This is pretty much matching the pace that I was working at last weekend, which I'm really happy to see because this is a bit of a fast pace for me, honestly. This is so good. This was definitely the right move. I also think I might be getting a little sick. I don't want to jinx it, but my boyfriend's been sick all week, so I've kind of had that it's only a matter of time feeling, and we live together. So, you know, I can't really get away from his germs. So I have a little bit of a sore throat, but honestly, we're just gonna like stick with the cozy energy, enjoy this hot chocolate, and just try to make me feel as good as possible. Also, I am so pleased that I'm back in the place I was in last weekend where I feel like ideas are really flowing. I had some ideas in the shower, and I instantly had the thought of like, I need to get one of those shower notepads where you can write down ideas in the shower. I always thought that those were a little silly, I'm not gonna lie, but now I'm kind of like, damn, I could use that because I was low-key nervous I was gonna forget the ideas by the time I got out of the shower. Thankfully I did not. So I thought of some ideas for kind of more towards the ending of the book, which was really exciting because the ending of the book has been kind of a big question mark to me thus far. So it felt good to finally have some ideas brewing for that. So I think we're gonna go ahead and jump in. I'm not gonna set a timer or anything. I'm just gonna kind of let myself write for as long as I feel I want to. With the exception of my writing live streams, I actually think that I prefer not using writing sprints, at least not on the days where I am feeling motivated, just because I feel like it would slow me down and like break up my progress. And once I'm on a roll, once I'm writing, I just want to keep going. I don't want to like be interrupted necessarily. So also, if you are currently watching this, I want to give you guys a little question to answer in the comments. Let me think. What's something that you tend to skip or want to skip during the writing process? Whether that's writing descriptions, the slower scenes, the action scenes, the character development on the page, the internal monologue. What's something that you tend to skip over to come back to later, or that you wish you could skip over to come back to later? Oh, I thought I had more hot chocolate left than this. Well, we won't let that stop us, will we? Quick update on how I'm feeling about Scrivener. I am loving it. Absolutely loving it. Cannot recommend it enough. I think the software is intuitive, aesthetically pleasing, has a ton of freaking features that I can't wait to use, especially in the revising and more world building steps, which I definitely am going to have to circle back to after Nano because I haven't been pausing to do some of that stuff in the effort to try and write as many words as I could. Yeah, I'm really liking Scrivener. I do have an affiliate link now, which I will have linked in the description. I also think they have a discount code going on specifically for NaNoWriMo. Okay. Let's go ahead and get into it. is time for an update. It is now 10:30, so substantially later than when we started off the writing sprint. In the last sprint, I think I wrote about 625 words, which brings my total for today up to 1,769 words. We didn't get quite to the 2.5K that I was like hoping and dreaming for, but we did break past the Nano suggested pace, which I am happy with and not something that I've been doing frequently, so I'm pleased to have gotten almost 2,000 words today. I do think I'm gonna throw in the towel here because my sickness level is, I think, starting to rise a little and I'm just not feeling too hot, so I'm not gonna push it tonight, but I am feeling really good going into tomorrow that I'm gonna be able to keep up this momentum. I talked a little bit last time about how I'm trying to rewire this idea that if I use too much creativity, there will be none left for me to use tomorrow. And instead, I've really been trying to adopt the mindset of this phrase that I heard that was essentially like, creativity is like a muscle. The more you use, the more you have. And I just really like that philosophy. So I'm trying to like lean into that a little bit more. It's momentum, right? And it's what I've really been noticing throughout this NaNoWriMo process is that like momentum is motivating. Momentum is like the zone of genius. And the more I write, the more ideas I have, the more motivated I feel to continue in this story. And I just want to keep tapping into that and knowing that all of this is working towards strengthening my writing and drafting muscles. And I'm going to be a better writer for pushing myself in this way. Even if not every single word I write is brilliant, I do think there's some merit to quantity and the strength and skill that you gain from trying to hit those higher word counts. So that's where my thoughts are at. I'm going to go ahead and log this onto the NaNoWriMo website. 1,769 words. Super proud of that. So this brings my total for NaNoWriMo thus far to 12,691 words. I'm getting into comfortable clothes. I'm actually already in boxers, and you had no freaking idea because I threw on this sweater to look artsy and cozy. But yes, I'm in boxers and I'm about to get into the rest of my pajamas, so. Good morning. It is Sunday now. I ended up not vlogging at all yesterday. It just turned out to be a much more chaotic day than I was anticipating. We did, however, have the live stream last night, so I did get some words in. I ended up writing a little bit over 800 words. It was definitely not my most like in-flow writing time. I talked about it a little bit during the stream, but essentially I was kind of in the midst of transition scenes, kind of smaller moments that honestly might be cut out in the final edit. Sorry, there's people walking by the window. But I decided to just write them out since they were what was coming to me in the moment, and I didn't want to totally cut myself off from continuing by like getting worried about, oh, does this scene need to be here, whatever. So I was writing those more transitional moments, which who knows, maybe that is the more quiet stuff that I've been missing in my underwriting, so maybe I'll end up keeping it. I read a little bit of it this morning and was pleasantly surprised by the writing that I did last night. I guess maybe being a little delirious, which I was during the live stream, helped me a little bit creatively. But needless to say, I didn't make that much of a dent in the project last night, but that's okay because today we're gonna have a lot more time to write. I definitely still have a sore throat. Thankfully, that's been my main symptom besides just feeling a little run down. I don't have that much else going on. I'm a little congested, but it's nothing crazy. So I think we're gonna try to recreate this sort of magic that happened last week. So I'm gonna take myself to the same little coffee shop and see if we can get a bit of a higher word count going. I'm not gonna put too much pressure on it because going into this next week, I did not mean to do that. I'm not gonna put too much pressure on it because going into this next week, which is Thanksgiving week, I know I'm gonna have a little bit more free time during the week since it's a holiday week. I'll have some time off, but also things will just be slower at work. So I foresee having a little bit extra time to dedicate to this project during this week. So we're not gonna stress too much about the word count today, but I would love to get at least 1,000 words in the manuscript this morning. So we're gonna take ourselves on another little writing date. If you joined the live stream, thanks so much for joining. It was really, really fun. And we have another one next Saturday with Amina, who was my co-host on my first stream. So stay tuned for that. I'm loving live streaming. It's been so fun to connect with you guys in that way. Okay, let's go to the coffee shop. I'm feeling a little unwell, so hopefully a little matcha and pastry will give me a little boost. I felt better, guys, for sure. had a great session. You know, that cafe, there's something about it. Time slows down or speeds up or something, and I always get high word counts there. I actually think with the final little chunk that I did, I may have gotten like 1950, so that's crazy. I've officially broken past 15K, which is really cool because that was like my safe goal. That was my, if I'm able to hit 15K, I'll be pleased with Nano goal, and obviously we still have over a week left. I finally got to write a scene that I've really been looking forward to. Essentially, the two leads of the book, Rhea and Varen, are practicing their magic at this very cool manor location that they go to. Rhea's having a hard time tapping into her powers, so Varen essentially eggs her on to get her to be able to use her power because it's something that's like often triggered by emotion for her. So it's kind of fun to write because it's very bantery. It's right up my alley in terms of my favorite type of scenes. The romance is romancing, and he's just like teasing her about what went down between her and a side character who also happens to be one of his friends. So it's just like really good banter with like jealousy undertones, and she's like all embarrassed and regretful about what happened between her and this side character, so it strikes a chord. It's just the most fun thing ever to write. Anyway, I think I'm a little creatively tapped out, at least for a bit, so I think I'm going to switch gears and do something that requires a little bit less brain power for a bit. Specifically, I'm going to start working on editing this vlog, so a bit of a meta moment, but I'm going to start working on this. We also have a matcha for a little bit of energy while I work on this video, and yeah, it's nice to have another thing that I can work on when I want to take a break from writing, but when I still feel like working on my creative pursuits in general. Up until this point for Nano, I've been pretty much milking this middle section of the book where they're in this other city and all the things that happen there. It's taken a lot longer for me to write this section of the book than I anticipated. It's been a lot chunkier than I anticipated, and to be totally honest, I'm not entirely sure where I'm gonna go from here when this part of the book is finished. Thankfully, it will probably carry us through most of the rest of Nano, and then I'll probably have to do some more planning and plotting before continuing to draft, but that'll be fine because it'll be past Nano, so I won't be as worried about word count. So that's kind of where I'm at. I'm not entirely sure which section of the book I'm going to go to after this. I don't know if I'm going to jump around, if I'm going to go back and add more scenes towards the beginning of the book, because I know that there's scenes that I need to fill in. I have a feeling that might be my first course of action, and then see if I come up with any additional ideas for kind of the middle of the book, because I think the rest of Act 2, besides the time that they spend in this city, is pretty fuzzy for me. Like, I don't really know what else is going to happen besides this time in the city and them like trekking through the desert. Like, those are the only two things that I really have in mind for Act 2, and I'm like, there needs to be more that happens. I have some like character relationship stuff that I know I want to happen while they're on this like journey, but I'm like, there probably needs to be more action as well. Okay, my brain is starting to like glitch out, so I'm gonna go ahead and work on editing this video. I just feel like I'm a little dazed and confused from being sick. Like, my brain power is not at 100%. Even the stuff that I'm writing, even though when I go back and read it, I'm like, damn, this is pretty good. In the moment, I'm kind of like, are these words making any sense? Like, are these sentences real sentences? Because I just feel a little fuzzy. Even filming this clip, I'm like, have I said anything coherent? I know I probably did, but it doesn't feel like it. Honestly, after I do a little bit of editing, I might just end up reading on the couch. That sounds kind of nice right now. Hello. Me and this tissue box, we've become like this today. It is Monday. I ended up not writing any more yesterday. I'm just gonna go ahead and wrap up this episode here. I wanted to write a little bit more before I wrapped it, just because we were so close to hitting 5K words for the episode, but we got pretty damn close. I think we ended off this episode with around 4.5K words. Don't quote me on that, but that's my estimate. So that's honestly a pretty strong weekend of writing. We broke through 15K this weekend, so I'm feeling pretty pleased with our progress. So we're gonna go ahead and wrap up this episode here. I hope that you guys really enjoyed it. If you did, make sure you give it a thumbs up. I hope you'll stick around for the rest of my NaNoWriMo content and all my writing vlogs going forward. If you made it all the way to the end of this video, include a pencil emoji in your comments so that I know you made it to the end. And I haven't mentioned this on this channel yet, but if you want to support me and you like my content, I do have a Ko-fi page where you can essentially buy me a coffee, so I will have that linked in the description. And I'll see you next week with the third and final installment of my Nano Diaries series. Bye!